Hello, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day so far. My name is Jurassic Ham. Welcome to this bonus episode. Now, before we jump in, I want to introduce a very special guest of mine. We have David from Blue Cruise Videos and Collectibles. David, how's it going?
Very well. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I first off, my name is David, and my channel is literally based off my last name and my love for toys and action figures and things like that, as you can see in the background. And so, originally, the idea behind this channel was my wife gave me the idea to do this because about 10 years ago, at 35 years old, I had a stroke. And when I was doing some rehab for my arm and my hand and stuff, she was talking to one of the patient's husbands that was there, and she basically, um, he basically told her that like I needed a hobby to keep myself busy because I was going to be out for a while, you know, and so she knew that I had just started a YouTube channel, barely got it up and running. And she's like, "Look, this is the idea they gave me, and maybe you should um, review some of your other stuff that you had besides just movies. Because originally it was just like a movie channel, just sporadic reviews here and there and stuff.
Right.
Nothing really special. But long story short, that's how it started when I did my channel, and it was basically tour reviews and then a little bit of hauls and pickups and stuff. And for a while, it was just like a bunch of eBay pickups and stuff. And so then I wanted to do something different, and so incorporating tour reviews and then doing Jurassic Park reviews. So that's what really jump started that channel. Really was the Jurassic Park stuff. And like when Fallen Kingdom came out, I did one review and I just gained like 300 to 400 followers within like or subs within like a week, and I'm just like, whoa, maybe something's happening here. But yeah, so she's the one that came up with the name, and so originally it was Blucher's videos and collectibles, like you had mentioned earlier. But now I have since changed it to Blucher's videos and toys because I think it kind of fits a little bit better, and it sounds better in my opinion.
Fair, fair.
It's yeah, and so because I took out the collectibles portion because I figured since I don't really have any collectibles like that, and I just got a bunch of action figures, so I just figured toys it's just kind of fits more the mold, and everything. Um, but other than that, yeah, that's the history of the channel.
Awesome. Awesome. So, folks, we are teaming up here to cover the latest Predator film, Predator Killer of Killers. It is available to watch on Hulu, or if you live outside of the United States, like myself, you can watch it on Disney Plus. I want to ask you, what is your history with the Predator franchise?
Well, growing up as a kid, I really wasn't allowed to watch a lot of R-rated movies unless if it's something that, my parents I saw and thought it was okay. So I probably didn't catch any of the movies probably till I was like maybe early teens, I think. But I do recall, I don't remember if it was one of them, but I do recall whenever I go to friends' house, like most friends do, when they're not allowed to watch certain things, they sneak around and they're able to watch movies. So I'm pretty sure that was one of them because I know in my heart that Terminator was like one of the first ones I did because I was a huge Arnold fan. Because then I was able to watch Conan and some of his lesser violent movies at the time. Because in the 80s, growing up in the 80s and early 90s, you had movies like Commando, you had Predator, you had Terminator 2, Raw Deal, and things like that.
Yep.
But me, my first introduction was Conan. So that's how I got hooked on Arnold. So as far as the Predator thing, I think like most of my movie watches, I think I watched the sequel first. Didn't even know that it was a sequel, and then finally watched the original until I was a little bit older, probably like in my late teens, probably. So I was a late bloomer when it came to stuff like that. But that was pretty much my first introduction. I think part two was, you know.
And to be completely honest, my introduction to Predator is eerily similar. Um, was introduced to Predator through another friend named David. He was playing the Aliens versus Predator PC game. This was about 1999, the one by Rebellion, where you could play as the alien, the Predator, or the Colonial Marine. Good game, but
Mhm.
it was hard. It was a very difficult game. So David was playing as the Predator. And so I asked him, I'm like, what's this Predator thing? So he was explaining it to me. And I was like, okay, these guys sound really cool. Like, and then again, my first Predator movie was also Predator 2, because he's like, if you just want to jump straight into like Predator Carnage, I'll start you with Predator 2. And for the longest time, I actually liked 2 more than 1. Because I know that this is primarily a Jurassic Park themed channel, because that is my main hyper fixation. But Predator is up there. Like, it's my third favorite movie of all time. I started like reading the books, I started reading the comics, and my first Predator movie in theaters wasn't until 2004 with Alien versus Predator.
Yeah, I think that was mine too.
I
Until Predators came out.
and For the record, I saw Alien versus Predator 4 times in the theaters, and I'm not ashamed to admit it.
Well, I think I saw it twice.
But David, what? How would you rank the Predator films? You can include AVP if you want to. I did.
Well, of course, number one, the first movie, obviously, and then number two, I would have to say part two. Okay, because I say part two because that was my very first one that I saw. That will always hold a special place in my heart, you know.
That's
And then
fair.
once I got to the first one, that's when it kind of changed for me, you know, because Arnold and Jesse Ventura, you know, how can you not like those two guys? You know, they did the Running Man together. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, that is true.
and so and so after that, that's where it gets a little muddled because it just didn't really seem to do them justice. While I did like Predators, but in honesty, I would have to put Prey will be the third one,
Okay.
and then followed by Killers is Killers, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Then I like the Predator, and then Predators will be my last one.
Okay. And so you're just leaving out AVP altogether?
Yeah, I just include those in the Alien ones. That's how I look at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm more of a Predator guy, so I included them here. Because we're talking about it, and because you included Killer of Killers in your rankings, I'm going to update mine from least favorite to favorite. Because I can say something nice about all of them, but some more than others, obviously. Um, so at the bottom is Requiem,
Yeah.
then The Predator, because there's some things in there that don't sit right with me. Then the first AVP, then Predator 2, then Killer of Killers, then Predators, then Prey, then Predator. Just in case if anyone is getting the wrong idea, it's not that I didn't like Killer of Killers. I like Killer of Killers. I just didn't love Killer of Killers. Like Predators, I watched it once and I knew that I liked it. With Killer of Killers, I I was a little hesitant to jump to any conclusions after the first watching, and I mean, which was weird because I was like, "This should be like the greatest thing ever." But I was a little hesitant, and I had to watch it a couple of times just to really put it together. I'm like, "Okay, I like this movie. I want to see more of it." If Dan Trachtenberg wants to be the Kevin Feige of the Predator verse, let him. Just didn't love it. And with that, I we're going to jump into our discussions now. And for anyone watching, listening, however you're consuming this media, if you have not watched Killer of Killers yet, Go watch it because we will be going into full spoiler discussion. This is your first, last, and only spoiler warning. Okay, first thing that I really like, just as someone who's looked into a lot of the expanded media, I geeked out so hard at the beginning when the term Yautja or Yaucha, however you pronounce it, officially became canon in the Predator movies. This was a term introduced in the novel Aliens versus Predator Prey from 1994, which is an adaptation of the original graphic novel. And this is what the Predator race refers to themselves as, is the there's different ways you can say it, but I pronounce it like, I just stubbed my toe on something. Yaucha.
Makes sense. Yeah, because if you look at it, it's like, how do you say it? And I this is gonna sound off the wall when I say it, but it sounds better when you say it. But I always thought it was like Yujita or something like that for whatever reason.
I
I
mean,
don't know why. Just that's just how I looked at it. I just like I guess Yujita is the correct term. I don't know because I don't think anybody really clarified that.
no,
They
but
just put
they never say it in the previous movies. So to me, it's like tomato, potato, Alfredo. Like, say something that
yeah.
resembles Yaucha, like, okay, you're talking about the Predators.
So, but yeah, that's how I always pronounce it. But I could be totally off on that. If I am, my apologies. Because I don't, like I said, I don't think anybody officially came out and how to pronounce it or pronunciate it. So
Not not from what I recall, but again, it's like Diplodocus and Diplodocus. They're the same creature,
right.
right? What was your favorite segment? So, if anyone still hasn't watched it, there are technically four stories. Three of them have names. There's the shield, the sword, and the bullet. And then there's the overall story that connects everything together.
I actually like the shield. That was actually pretty cool. That
So,
that I think that's what really kicked off the whole series for me. I did not know that going in it was going to be separated like that. So it kind of after the shield portion, and then when it jumped into the sword and all that, that kind of threw me for a loop. I'm like, okay, where is this coming from? And I might be jumping the gun here, but because it's like different time periods,
mhm.
and then what I guess once we get further into it, it'll probably be more explained. But it threw me for a loop when after the story ends, you see the sole survivor of each story arc, you know, on the ship in different in different forms, and then you realize that when it gets to the last story, they're all together, and I'm just like, wait, hold up, how is this possible?
That concept of like having prey from different time periods on ice is something that is in the graphic novel. It's one of the Marvel ones. I believe it's called Predator the Reserve. And like,
Okay.
because, and it's kind of like in Predators where they've got like this reserve planet and they just drop people on it and then they go ham, right? And then there's these group of people that huddle up together trying to figure out what's going on, what they're dealing with. And somebody asks, well, what's the last thing you remember? It's like, oh, well, I was part of this military organization. And they're like, well, that organization was disassembled in this year. Like this takes place, I think it's a couple hundred years in the future. And then somebody's like, okay, well, when I went under, it was 2013. And one of the guys like, that's cute. The last thing I remember is being in a bar fight in Dublin in 1986. So, so when they actually pulled that out at Killer of Killers, I was like, oh, hey, that I recognize that.
Right.
But yeah, I agree. The Shield is my favorite story. It might be a little bit biased because I am of Swedish descent, but I think just overall, just like with Ursa, like trying to get a revenge kill for her father while also taking her son on a rite of passage and their clan coming through, and then all of a sudden, this predator shows up, and I love how they call the predator Grendel because they're
Mhm.
like, well, okay, this looks like the thing from Beowulf. That's good a name as any. It's a Grendel. And then when she refers to the warlord predator at the end as the Grendel King, something about that just really, really tickled me pink.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a cool callback. You know, I mean, if you know your history with that kind of mythology, then it would make sense. But like new viewers, that just kind of like, well, who's Grendel? You know, so you could either refer that to, like you said, Beowulf, or you could refer it to the comic books that Dark Horse did. You know, Grendel. You know, it just all depends on what you grew up on and what you read and what you know back then.
Another thing that I wanted to point out is that, how there's always that whole argument that makes me roll my eyes every time I hear it. How, oh, animation is for kids, grown men, women, or whatever shouldn't be watching cartoons and whatnot. And I appreciate how this one doesn't even try to like hold back on the violence. Like the first gory bit is when the guy is strung up to the tree and they like cut his leg off to torture him. And then as he's heckling Anders, which is Ursa's son, she just straight up cuts the dude in half, like from the waist down with her battle axe. You see all the ghibli bits falling out and everything. So, yeah, this might be animated, but it's not for kids. So stop saying that.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like the animation a lot, and specifically the style that they used for it, more of the comic-esque style of it, and instead of like a regular animation or a cartoon that you would normally would see. It's by no means no '90s style cartoon like X-Men or anything like that, but it's more of a graphic novel type
Oh,
animation.
now I'm just trying to think of like, animated Predator series, like animated from the team that did Gargoyles. How cool would that be? I've seen Killer of Killers 3 times, and the second time I watched it, I took notes because again, I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, why don't I love this movie as much as I loved Prey or the first Predator, even? Um,
Yeah,
and I noticed that each story is like with the flashback stories, they're nicely balanced. They each clock in at about 20 minutes. You don't actually really see any hints of the predators until about 5 minutes in. You don't actually get like your full good look at the particular predator until probably about 10-15 minutes into the story. And then obviously by like the 20-minute mark, that particular predator is. And I'm wondering if you noticed this. Each one of these predators in the shield, the sword, and the bullet, they've been through some stuff. Like the one in the shield is missing his right forearm. So he's got like
yeah,
that sonic cannon
hmm
thing. And with the sword, that predator is missing his top mandibles. He's only got the two bottom ones. And then there's the one in the bullet that's missing his left eye. These are not like the rookie predators or even like the somewhat experienced predators that you see in movies of yonder. Like these guys have been through some stuff.
yeah. I really enjoyed the sword as well. You know, I think the sword and the shield was pretty much on par, like as far as storytelling goes. You know, and I love the fact that you know you have that backstory with the two brothers, and then as time went on, you know, you see them growing up and everything. The brother that ran away came back well balanced out in jujitsu and everything, learned the art of that and came back to avenge, you know. And then I like how the fact that the other brother was just as like he kind of knew who it was, but he couldn't quite make out.
Mhm.
But they still had to have their fight in order to know that what each other was to each other, you know. And then finally, once they realized that they had to fight the common enemy, that's when they really bonded together. And then, you know, it went where it went, you know. So I thought that was a really touching story too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I loved how there's like almost no dialogue throughout the sword. Like it's all visual storytelling. And just when you mentioned like the brothers growing up on different paths and having to clash again on the night of their father's funeral. Like, I couldn't quite tell if they were like really trying to kill each other or if Kenji was just trying to get back at Kiyoshi. Yes, I did look up the names because I'm a nerd. Um, or if it was, and then like as soon as they know the predator's there, their beef takes a backseat because, like you said, you got to deal with the common enemy. Like, so I don't know if they're not actually trying to kill each other, or if they want to try to take each other out, or if it's one of those like Wolverine and Sabretooth, like nobody kills you but me kind of deal.
Or Omega Red. Omega Red was another one too that was
Yep.
stop. You know, you thought Sabretooth was bad. I thought Omega Red was like next level.
I will say, yeah, the shield was probably my overall favorite segment. The sword is the most emotional of the bunch. The bullet is the most action orientated. And I would say the bit in the Colosseum is the best at the overall world building.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Mhm.
This was another one that I was really excited about. Michael Biehn. Michael Bihn's trifecta. He gets to join the late Bill Paxton and Lance Henriksen as being one of only three guys who's been in an Alien movie, a Terminator movie, and a Predator movie.
Yeah. Yep. That's super cool though. I mean, you know, that's you ain't never gonna see that happen again. Never.
Probably not. And you can tell by the Predator Warlord's cape and from what I've heard about the Badlands trailers, like I don't watch trailers anymore. If something's coming out that's going to pique my interest, you don't have to sell me on it. I'm going to watch it. Don't think that 20th Century Studios / Disney are even trying to hide the fact that they're going to give Aliens versus Predator another try. And I hope they do.
They, I do too because you know I've been clamoring for years. Is like, dude, when are they gonna cap off the A versus P franchise? Because they left it wide open on the second one. You know, when they brought in the canon and everything, and I was just thinking, okay, when the lady says the world's not ready for this kind of technology yet, it's like, all right, finally we're gonna see what they're gonna go for here, and it never happened.
It
But
never
I
happened
doubt
because
when they
nobody
do
liked
it.
Requiem.
Yeah, I doubt that they will pick up after that movie because so much time has passed. But it would be kind of cool for them to give that portion a nod
Yeah,
as far as that goes. They have to. I mean, they do everything else, so why not?
that's true. That is true. Watching it again last night, I gotta say there are some parts in The Bullet that get a little strange, and I'm trying to be like, just go with it because movie. Because, like, I mean, in the original Predator movie, Dutch survived the self destruct thing, and Peter Keyes said that explosion was large enough that it destroyed enough rainforest to cover 300 city blocks. But like the part with Torres on the wing, like smacking the flaming bomb off, and just I guess the idea of just an aerial predator dogfight was a little weird because it's like, well, when you're 30,000 feet in the air with like the spears and whatnot, how are you supposed to collect trophies? Or like, are you just taking these guys out just for the sake of taking them out? It's just with the Predators culture revolving so much around the hunt and trophy taking, like, yeah, it looks cool, but it's just, it was a little weird to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the dog fight, especially when that one engine blew out, that kind of threw me for a loop. It's just like one of us would have fell off of that thing trying to do that easily. There's no way we would have been able to hang on to that thing.
Yeah.
You know, especially trying to climb on the wing while it was flying the way it was flying, and then trying to kick that thing off. That would have been I would have been gone.
Yeah, as soon as the cockpit cover opened, it just would have been like,
Yeah. Yep, totally been gone.
although I gotta say, I did get a kick out of the technology used in this movie. Like, not necessarily like the filmmaking technology, but the technology that the Predators brought to the hunt. Like, there was that thing that it was like a mix between the net gun from Predator 2 and the laser grid hallway from the first Resident Evil movie. How it like claps in around the plane and then just like cubed it down into nothing. And you can even see the poor pilot's bits flying by Torres while he's out on the wing. And I was like, that's kind of nasty, but I like your creativity.
Yeah. And also that the spear thing that they used to take out the engines that they used to shoot, that was pretty interesting too.
As someone who studied like cryptids and extraterrestrials and whatnot, as a kid, when Torres gets picked up at the end of his story, did you notice the crop circles that the Predator ship left in the field behind him?
Makes you wonder, is that movie Signs? Is that a sign that is telling us?
Like, do the Predators hunt the aliens from Signs? But what was like the coolest moment or shot for you?
The outworld that they were in, the Predators' home world. I thought that was pretty cool.
Okay.
Also, the other one that I like is the one from the sword. I like the whole aspect of that whole situation that they were in, as far as scenery goes. I thought that was well done. And then the bullet, that was just kind of like normalized. It wasn't really nothing special, but the shield was pretty cool too, as far as their the winter-esque vibe that it came off as, especially when they were battling on the ice, and everything. So I thought that was really nice,
Yeah, like
especially when she was underwater, and then the predator was walking on the ice and everything was cracking, and
yeah,
you was just waiting for that moment for it to fall.
yeah.
I thought that was a good shot.
And, like for me, the coolest moment where was during the sword, and it's as Kenji is running along the roof of like
Mhm.
that really fine point of the temple roof, and the predator is cloaked behind him, so he drops the smoke pellet, and he's pulling out the I can't remember what they're called, but like the little spear tips things. When he's pulling them out and he uses the smoke pellet to reveal the predator's cloaked form, that is brilliant. Like that is such a cool shot when you see the silhouette like coming through the smoke.
He knew something was behind him. He just didn't know what.
And,
He felt that presence.
and he's the only one who actually saw the predator. Like out of these three characters that we follow, he's the only one who actually saw the predator cloaked before it attacked him. Because like it's watching his brother go walking through the temple, and he can see like the light reflecting off of his camouflage, and even Kenji's like, "What? What was your favorite predator death of the lot?"
Whew, that's a good one. I thought the one with the one in the sword was pretty unique. How they did that. How they was able to wrap around and it was still cloaked, and they finally had it revealed, and then all of a sudden they just pulled that thing apart. I thought that was a cool death.
I did like how they're watching the leaves fall, like just like how they would spar
Yeah.
against each other as a kid, and then they see it stopping, like because you think they're about to go at each other again, and then it stops midair, so they know okay that thing's still there. I was more amused by that death because so this is probably something that you see in a lot of martial arts movies, where the two sword fighters clash by each other, and then you see the blood running down the blades, and then one of them falls over. Like we saw that in Predators, even.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
but it's just I thought it was kind of funny that the two brothers you hear the swords clash like this, shing, and they're standing, and you see the Predator blood running down their swords, and then it's quiet for a moment, and then it's just and then the predator just explodes.
Yep.
I laughed. I don't know what that says about me, but I laughed.
Also, I thought the way was it Torres? Was that his name in
In the
the
bullet,
bullet
yeah.
episode? Okay, Torres when he was able to take out the one that was flying the plane, and then he realized that there were more coming, and he was just like, oh shit, excuse me, I'm sorry. But yeah, once he realized that there are others, he was just like, well, I got to get out of here. So
And just earlier, when you had mentioned the stuff on the Predator home world and in the Coliseum, this is this was obviously like the big Predator lore expansion, like trying to make them not so one note, like as great as they are, like they are trying to flesh them out more into a wider society. I thought that the stuff in the Colosseum was a little weird at first just because the culture is so based around hunting and trophy taking. Just like the idea of like having like this kind of Colosseum like as entertainment thing struck me a little weird at first. Um just because I thought that the thrill of the hunt was the entertainment. And I was just wondering like what were your thoughts on that? I know you kind of touched based on it, but like if there was anything else you wanted to add to that.
Well, it was different, and I'll give them that. They tried something different, and it was unique in its own way. It did remind me of Gladiator when they were in the Coliseum in the beginning, and how they panned around. All the people that were in there. They kind of did that similar to what in this one, and I thought that was interesting how they had all the predators all inside the Coliseum just rooting on and everything. And then once everything was happening, they got louder and louder and everything. And I just thought that was different, something we haven't seen before, which is good,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. Like as much as we love the classics, I know that you gotta shake it up a little. And I've always said that the Predator, the most interesting thing about the Predator is their culture. So I hate to sound ungrateful when they're trying to show more of their culture, and I'm like, no, not like that. My wife has a degree in anthropology, so like we were trying to look at it from an anthropological sense, which could be like a whole other podcast review discussion, whatever, in and of itself. Because like at the beginning of the movie, they mentioned that this was entry whatever of the Yautja Codex, and I'm like, is there a physical Yautja Codex that we can read? Do you need us to write one? Like, we would do that. Like, that is a book that I want to read.
Well, if I'll say this, if they can make a book on Klingons, they can make a book of that.
Well, another thing that I'm a fairly big fan on, not hyperfixate fan on, but I really like Mortal Kombat. So I tried looking at the stuff with the Coliseum as a Mortal Kombat tournament. Like you get the invite to the tournament, you kill one of the Yautja, then you have to fight against other people who have gotten invites, like other creatures who have also killed Yautja. And then at the end, you fight the guy in charge. And like the Predator Warlord is your Shao Kahn, your Shinnok, like whoever the final boss is in that particular Mortal Kombat game. So that helped it make a bit more sense to me. Um, it's kind of weird to hear the Predators talking in like with like syllables because like when you're too, and I don't know if you'll be able to pick this up, but when you're too used to hearing predators talk like, it's kind of weird to hear them start be like, "Ooh, yeah, yeah." It like I'm not entirely opposed to it, but it did catch me a little off guard.
Well, I guess they were trying to. I guess they understood that each race that they was collecting for this particular moment, that they had their own different language, so it's kind of like their translation that they used.
I did like it. I did like the translating aspect, and like my wife said, she was like, if the predators are advanced enough that they can do like interstellar, intergalactic travel, and like they can bend light to make themselves turn invisible, like there's gonna be people who like need to build the spaceships. They need a way to like actually talk. Like they're not dumb. They're cocky and full of hubris, which usually gets the better of them. But the predators are not stupid. It probably is just because that it's new. That I'm still like kind of processing it.
Well, it does add a lot of new elements to this movie, and it makes you wonder what the second one is going to be, because there's going to be a second one. It has to be. I mean, it, they
Um,
they left it wide open at the end. You
actually,
know.
I just want to put a pin in that particular note real quick. We're gonna come right back to it. But what did you think of like the giant creature thing that they brought out?
It was out of left field, and I thought it was pretty cool. It was different. But I would like to know more about that thing too. Where did that come from?
Tim, I got to admit, I was not a big fan of the giant creature thing because it looked like something from episode 2 rather than Predator. And I was not a fan of Attack of the Clones. And but without the death of that giant creature, we never would have gotten the Predator Zamboni machine. I never thought that would be a sentence that I would ever say, but there was a Predator Zamboni machine, guys.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I like the creature design. I thought it was pretty cool. But like I said, it was in left field, and I'm pretty sure NECA will make one if given the chance.
Oh, probably. I just want to tie back because the last couple of things actually kind of both tie into what you were saying, how they left it wide open for a follow up. When you say follow up, do you mean like another animated anthology, or do you mean how is this going to tie into Predator Badlands later this year?
Could be either or.
Okay. Because
But I wouldn't be surprised if they do make a sequel to the animation. I mean, another animated sequel.
with how much everyone is gushing about Killer of Killers online, I don't know if you've seen like the fan feedback. It's mostly very, very positive. And if this just means that we're getting more Predator content, like they've got stories to tell and world building to do, like, I'm here for all of the Predator content, although I will judge each one fairly. Like, considering that Dark Horse had the comics license for both of these properties for a while, I'm surprised we never got a Godzilla versus Predator comic. And I would read that.
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure that will be coming too.
So if they pick up immediately right where Killer of Killers leaves off, like Taurus and Kenji get away, Ursa gets recaptured. Like they don't kill her because breaks the chain so that they can get away. So they just put her back on ice because obviously this is worthy prey. They're going to want to try and hunt her again. I'm not liking Taurus's and Kenji's odds with all of the ships and like speeders that went after them. Like, I would not be surprised if in Badlands, if we see like that particular vessel wrecked out in the desert or whatnot, and there's two skinned bodies, and one of them's missing his arm, and the other one's like not as big. I would not be the least bit surprised if we saw that in Badlands.
Really? Okay. I'm gonna have to keep an eye out on it for that. See if that does take place.
I do really like the look of the Predator Warlord, like with the xenomorph tail cape. And this guy is big. Like, even for a Predator, this dude was big, just like the one in the Shield. Like, those two have eaten a lot of beef.
Yeah, he got some size on him. I think he might be bigger than the one that was on the Predator, the big tall thing that they had in the movie.
And honestly, I think you're right.
He might be a little bit bigger than that. And that was a big dude.
Yeah, the augmented one in the Predator, I believe, was about 11 feet tall. And Predators on average are usually about 8.
Yeah. Well, he might be at least about 12.
Yeah, I believe it.
That's because there is a considerable size difference. If you go back and look, he's freaking huge.
Just to tie it back to make another Jurassic reference, like if you look at pictures of Steven Spielberg and Michael Crichton standing next to each other, that is the size difference between your regular Predator and this Predator Warlord at the end. Because Michael Crichton was like 6'7".
He's a tall dude. He's a big dude.
Yes.
And Spielberg, he's like a little man.
Yeah. It's the ending, like, because I mean, with these movies, obviously there's a big stinger. I actually tried pausing the movie because, like, at the end of the movie, if to those of you who haven't watched it or aren't going to watch it, Ursa, the Viking lady, gets put back on ice, and these two predators are walking her back into like their storage for all these cryo chambers, and there are hundreds of these things. And you see glimpses into a couple of them, with the third one obviously being the big stinger at the end, which I'll get to in a second. the first big one that you get into, I don't think it actually is, but I swear it looked like a death angel from A Quiet Place.
Hmm.
Then the second one, I I couldn't quite make out who it was, but it looked like a guy with a real buzz cut and possibly glasses. But obviously, the third one that everyone's talking about is Naru, Amber Midthunder's character from Prey. So at the end of Prey, during the credits, there's the animation of the other Predator ships coming down, and people are like, "Oh well, they're all dead," but not Naru. So now we know what happened to her, and who knows? Maybe we'll see her in the future.
Could be, I'm surprised they didn't do a follow up on that on Prey. Maybe this was the follow up. Because we see her captured now. So who knows?
Maybe.
We're just exploring the different origins or stories from particular eras. Backgrounds.
So just with Prey, this because my overthinking brain made notes of this, so I wanted to address it real quick. So in Prey, Raphael gives Naru the gun that you see at the end of Predator 2. This same gun is the one, like, the because the Warlord Predator drops weapons specific to each combatant's like time era and whatnot. Like Ursa gets like a giant battle axe, Kenji gets the katana, but Torres, they're like, okay, he's a modern day human, he gets a gun, but he gets that gun. So I'm wondering.
It's the same one from Predator 2.
Yeah, it's the same one, same name, 1715 on the side. So it's like, how long is Torres out? Does this take place before Predator 2? Is Mike Harrigan, Danny Glover's character, like in the cryopods too? Did they retcon Predator 2? I was like, I understand fan service, but that particular one left me with a few questions.
Yeah, because when I saw that gun, I geeked out. My wife looked at me. She's like, "What?" I said, "The gun." And she's like, "What about it?"
No, you don't understand. It's the gun. Right?
It's the gun.
I guess we'll just wrap up this particular spoiler discussion just with your final thoughts on Killer of Killers.
Overall, I really enjoyed it. I do want to revisit it again fairly soon. Because I think I would benefit more with for a second watch. Like I said, I just didn't really get a chance to get into it like I wanted to this week before this our discussion. But yeah, I would like to watch it again, and I do highly recommend it because it's really good, especially the music. I collect a lot of soundtracks. I'm a big soundtrack guy because that's what either makes or breaks the movie, no matter how good or bad it is. But I really did. I did really enjoy the musical score that was in there. So if they do come out with a CD or whatever, or a physical copy of it, I hope for sure get it.
Yeah, like I said, I don't hate Killer of Killers. Far from it. I like it. I just did not love it as much as I want to. But this is not the only Predator movie we're getting this year. We'll probably get more standalone Predator movies in the future. I hope they do. It's weird. Jurassic Park, I don't want crossed over with anything, and I want them to kind of spaced out. But with Predator, I'm like, drop the Predators and everything. Like, just give me all the Predator content. Like, let's go.
You mean you don't want Jurassic World meets Fast and the Furious?
No,
They're under the same. They're under the same umbrella.
I don't care. No.
You don't want to see Dom Toretto versus Rexy.
No. I don't want, Vin Diesel and Jason Momoa like try to bro each other out while he grumbles about family while, the T-Rex is doing the objects mirror closer than they appear thing. That's not with Badlands. There might be something in Badlands that will help. That might even make me like Killer of Killers more.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's 8 movies with the Predator in them, and I rank Killer of Killers at 4. So 4 out of 8, that's not bad.
Yeah, you got the halfway point.
Yeah. I think that just about does it for our discussion for Killer of Killers. Overall, We liked it. We do recommend it. David might have liked it more than I did, but again, it's just like if you like Predator, you should really check this one out. And I mean,
Give it a watch. And I think they were really smart for doing it on giving it a Hulu exclusive. Because who knows how well it would have did in theaters, but I think they did the right thing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Who knows? But I think they did the right thing for making this a streaming service thing only. So just kind of like how they did with Prey, because you don't know how well Disney was going to do with this particular property. Even though they have a partnership with you, Hulu and stuff, um, they made the right call by putting it out there on the streaming service first, just to kind of test the market, because of how poorly The Predator did and Predators did, and stuff. And so they were trying to kind of see where they're at with it now, because it's a brand new property for them, because they're the ones that bought the rights for it. They own Disney owns, all the Fox property and stuff,
yep,
things like that.
yep.
So, so far, as far we're not going to speak on the Star Wars stuff, but but
I can
so
take the
far,
lead for Star Wars stuff.
you're like, yeah. But as far as them handling the Predator and Alien franchise, so far it's been an A+ for me. I haven't seen anything bad yet. I thought they did well with Alien Romulus. I even bought the figure for it.
Nice.
If I buy a figure for a particular movie, that's because I really like the movie, and I want that particular representation. You know,
That
so
that is very much, it's just like looking at your collection in the background. Like that is very much a ringing endorsement that if David adds the figure to his collection, then there is something to be said there.
yeah.
Now, odds for my channel, the next video coming up will be the Jurassic World Rebirth Lab Lockdown T-Rex repaint. David, what do you have coming up on your?
Well, currently we're in the midst of Jurassic June, so that's the theme for every June for me, is to try to um, do reviews on obscure stuff. Well, not really obscure stuff, but things that haven't been done in a while, or that's not fairly new. I like to, for my particular channel for Jurassic June, I like to do older stuff that hasn't been put out in a while instead of the newer stuff, because I know that all the rebirth stuffs came out and everybody's doing reviews of that. So I want to hold off on those reviews till a little bit later, till probably like after the movie or something, or maybe a year from now, because that way it can still be something new for a year from now and stuff.
Right.
But as of right now, currently, I'm in the midst of doing reviews for the 93 Classics. Since it's been a couple of years since anybody has put out a review of that particular line, I figured, why not? Something fresh again.
David, where can people find you on the socials?
You can find me at Lucas Videos and Toys on YouTube. And I'm also on Facebook. You can find my Facebook page, Lucas Videos and Toys, as well. You can follow me there. If you have Instagram, same thing, Lucas Videos and Toys as well. So if you want to subscribe to all three, I much appreciate it.
If you've made it this far into the video, especially this one, I think this is the longest video on my channel now. I do want to thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to watch it. If you like the content that you see and hear here, please be sure to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for any future notifications, and share this video around. David, any words of wisdom that you would like to lead us out on?
Buy what you love and not what you like, because if you buy what you like, you always end up getting rid of it.
And with that, this is Jurassic KM and David from Blucher's Collective Videos and Toys, signing off.